So Nadia, what's up?
We making money moves.
Who making money moves?
We making money moves.
You making money moves?
We making money moves.
We making money moves.
We making money.
Okay, thank you guys for all coming out today. So my name is Nadia, and I'm going to be talking about the basics of investing in stocks and in crypto. So if you saw the Eventbrite title, it was Stocks and Crypto in a Nutshell. So I'm not like a self-proclaimed expert. I kind of basically taught myself what I know, but that's the whole idea. I think that investing should be accessible to everyone, and the idea is that you can do it without being an expert. You can still make money. It's for everybody. I got started with my channel. I started posting my investing journey on my YouTube channel, and it's called Millennial Money Moves, for those of you who don't know, but I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, so thanks for coming out. You probably already knew that. But how I got started was I had a mentor who really helped me out. He helped me start my channel, and he kind of told me the key terms that you need to know about investing, and kind of, okay, go learn about this. So after he told me that, the next step for me was, okay, well, what resources can I use to further the little knowledge that I already had just from Google? So these are some good books I'd recommend. The Compound Effect, my friend gave to me. It's actually a really good book, and it helped me understand what compounded growth is. I Will Teach You to Be Rich breaks down like everything you need to know about investing and personal finance in a really simplified way, but it's not oversimplified to the point where you can't pick up the important pieces. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, everyone's probably heard of. I think it just kind of helps you get in that mentality of thinking about your finances. And The Intelligent Investor is a good book, but it's kind of probably going to go over your head if you haven't started investing yet, because it's just a lot of numbers and a lot of details that I personally, when I first started it, I had to pause and go back to it after I learned more. And websites, I like Investopedia. That's going to be like your best friend when it comes to looking up terms. And Yahoo Finance is a good place to go to get info about what's currently going on with stocks. But I think the best way to learn is by doing it, is by investing. That's how I really started to get a grasp of it. Because I can sit here and tell you terms and things you should know, but it's not really going to click until you do it for yourself. Oh, louder? Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is why you should invest in stocks. Everyone knows the struggle of going to work 9 to 5. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but we do it because it's how we make our money. And so eventually I started thinking, okay, I have to work for my money, but how do I make my money work for me? And investing in stocks is one of the best ways to have your money make money. And it's way better than a savings account. And when someone told me that at first, I was like, well, isn't investing kind of like gambling? Isn't it risky? But it's way better than keeping your money in a savings account, because your money would have to grow between 4 to 6% per year to beat inflation, which it's not going to do sitting in a savings account. Yeah, they give you interest if you don't touch your money, but it's not going to beat the way that it would grow in the stock market. And I think that's one of the most important things about investing, is that it's going to outperform a savings account. And I know a lot of people were probably depending on Social Security checks for when they retire, but they're running out of money quite quickly, so we're not going to get those checks the way that the boomers or our parents did, or our grandparents. So I opened a Roth IRA on Fidelity, and that's been my plan for retirement. Because when you take the money out of a Roth IRA, you don't have to pay taxes on it. Okay, so I feel like one of the biggest myths about investing is you need a lot of money to invest. And yeah, you need to invest a lot of money to be extremely rich, like with the 1% of the 1%. But this chart just kind of shows that even if you invest a little bit of money, you can make a lot of money. So everyone always talks about if you invest $5 a day into the market, in 40 years you'll have $1 million to become a millionaire. But this chart is showing investing $5 in, okay, so everyone goes to Starbucks and will buy their $5 cup of coffee. But if you invest $5 a day into Starbucks, if you look here, you can see in 50 years, that'll be $800,000, which obviously is less than the million I was talking about into the market. But this is just one stock, and Starbucks is a solid investment. It was one of the first things that I bought. So that's definitely a good one if you're starting up to look into. So let's switch gears and kind of talk about why you should invest in crypto. So this is where the terminology kind of gets a little more confusing, but I think it's important to have a basic understanding before you start investing. So cryptocurrency is a virtual currency stored on a ledger called a blockchain. So I'm going to explain what blockchain is later. But the reason that I invest in crypto is because I believe in blockchain technology and DeFi. And DeFi is short for decentralized finance. And that's basically what that means is crypto isn't regulated by the government. And so a lot of people like that alternative for whatever reason suits them. But I like it because banks are obviously heavily regulated by the federal government. And as of now, it's not regulated. Hopefully that doesn't change. But it's also a nice alternative to hyperinflation or bank failure or any other like extreme disaster scenario where if for whatever reason you can go to a bank account or inflation was terrible. I mean, we're seeing inflation at a pretty bad point right now. So that's why I like crypto. It's kind of something to hedge it a little bit. Okay, so I wanted to explain blockchain technology. I know it's going to be confusing if you've never heard about it before, but try to stay with me. Okay, so you know how when you swipe your credit card and Visa, they approve it, the bank will approve the transaction. This is how that works for cryptocurrency. So a transaction is entered, and then different computers across the world will get the transaction, and then the computers solve an equation, and the equation goes into a block, and then those blocks are chained together. So a blockchain is literally just a chain of blocks of verification. So how do you start investing in stocks? I feel like is the next natural question. You just want to open up a brokerage account. You can open one up at Fidelity, Moomoo, Vanguard, or Webull. There's plenty of other ones, but these are just the ones that I use and I'm most familiar with. And then you're going to want to fund the account because even after you open it, you have to link your bank account to the brokerage account, and it can take about 3 days for that money to transfer. So it's nice to have money in that account because let's say if you want to buy something on the spot, it's really inconvenient if you have to wait 3-4 days for the money to clear up, and then maybe you won't be able to buy it at the price point that you originally wanted at. So after that, I think it's a good idea to put a few stocks on your watch list before you actually buy anything. It kind of helps you get an idea of what price points you might want to buy in at and that sort of thing. Okay, back to crypto. So how do you start investing in crypto? So you're going to want to open an account on Coinbase, Binance, or Kraken. And these are all websites and apps that are trusted. But when you do buy crypto, you have to pay fees. And on Coinbase Pro, they do have lower fees. So I definitely recommend looking into that if that's something you want to get started doing. And the next biggest question is, okay, well now you know how to open an account, you know what it is, but how do you know if a stock is good? And these are just some of the things that I look at before I purchase a stock. So I look at the PEG ratio, the PEG ratio, and when it's under 1, I look at that as kind of a healthy sign because that means the company is undervalued. So you want to buy a stock when it's undervalued and sell it when it's overvalued, which basically just means buy it low and sell it high. And a PEG ratio under 1 is usually a good indicator of that for me, along with other things. Market cap is a big thing. Think about, that basically just tells you how big a company is. So when you think of big companies like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, they have really large market caps. I think the market cap for Coca-Cola is like 37 billion. And that's just showing you how established that company is. And it's good to have a mix of bigger companies and smaller companies because it's just safer to have some big companies too because they usually don't go down as bad if the industry is affected by some bad news or something like that because they're more established, they have good financials, things like that. But like I was saying with things that can affect the industry, it's important to stay up to date with news that's happening, the things that are happening in that company. Let's say they're performing really well financially or they're opening up new locations, things like that, like Portillo's. One of the reasons I invested in that recently is because they're planning to expand more. So that's some news on Portillo's that will make the price go up or down. And you want to research the industry. So let's stick with that Portillo's example. So that's in the food industry. And so there's so many different things that you can invest in. It could be food, it could be healthcare, it could be tech, it could be, I think I already said healthcare, but things like that. There's so many different, just think of the different types of companies. Those are all different industries that you can invest in. And you want to look at how they're performing historically. So historically, how is the company doing, you know? Because you don't want to invest in something if, hey, they haven't been making good money, they haven't been run by a good leader. So you want to look at their CEO and their CFO and see what other companies they worked with, and did they help the company get better, or was it worse off when they got involved? Because you don't want to get involved in a company that has bad leadership or they don't know what they're doing. You want to look for a good CEO. For instance, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is a CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, and that's a great holdings company where he actually picks stocks that he wants to invest in. And everybody, I'm sure if you have even little to no experience in investing, you've heard of Warren Buffett. So something like that is going to make me more interested in a company. And that being said, I also look at who's buying it. You know, I feel like politicians and really wealthy people make good investments. And so that is something I take into consideration before I purchase a stock. And same thing, but as far as crypto, it's a lot of the same things with the market cap, but I also look at what projects they're working on, who's investing in it, their leadership, and their community. And community is huge when it comes to crypto, because you see a lot of people who get very intensely behind something. And with crypto, I want to warn you, because it is more volatile, but the community is strong. But a lot of these things can go, volatility just means it can go up and down like crazy. But I don't know if you guys remember Dogecoin and all the people that were backing it, like on Reddit, on YouTube, people like me who talk about those kind of investments. The community behind a crypto can really help the price go up. After Dogecoin, it was Shiba Inu. I remember I made a YouTube video saying that I don't want to buy it because it's a meme coin, and that was probably the only video I got hate comments, but so many people in the comments were like, Sheep Army, you don't know what you're talking about. And I did say that it was a good way to make money, but it just wasn't something that I wanted to invest in. So things like that, the community makes a huge difference, and they're very passionate about their investments. So what makes a good portfolio? I think it's important to have diversification is key. You don't want to invest all of your money into stocks or all of your money into crypto, especially when it comes to individual stocks, because that can be risky. You know, a company can lose all of its money, and if you threw all your money just betting on one company, that's not the best thing. So when I was talking about market cap, you want to have a mix of large cap, mid cap, and small cap. And you want to invest in different areas, whether it's tech, energy, healthcare, real estate, and a mix of individual stocks if you're investing in individual stocks, cryptocurrency, and ETFs are exchange-traded funds and index funds. So basically what that means is not putting all of your eggs in one basket. You buy it the same way you buy a stock, but it consists of multiple companies. So you might buy an ETF that has Apple, Starbucks, and just any other company, maybe Portillo's. I don't think one exists with that exact combination, but just an example of what an ETF or index fund is. And real estate, I think it's important because a lot of people really focus on individual stocks and crypto, especially lately because it's really popular. Crypto should really only make up 5 to 10% of your portfolio due to its volatility. Now, some people might invest differently. They might have more, they might have less, but I think this is a good rule of thumb if you're just kind of looking for general rules of what to buy. And these are some resources I use. I use Yahoo Finance. That's a good website to look at those quarterly earnings reports that I was talking about, finding out a company's cash flow, how they're doing financially, who's in charge, and news updates. I probably go on Yahoo Finance every day. I have my notifications on because I think it's a great way to see and stay up to date with what's happening with the company. Tip ranks, that's going to give you your price predictions for a stock. So if you want to look up the price prediction of, I've been using Portillo's, so let's say Portillo's, and then you type it into tip ranks. If you type in their ticker symbol, they'll tell you, hey, in a year, I think this is going to be X amount of money. And that'll also help me figure out if I should buy or hold because it's Wall Street analysts and their predictions. Finviz is a good website, more for a technical analysis if you want to look at charts and patterns. And Investopedia is a really good source to use for figuring out what all these terms are that I said. I know I kind of talked through it and I was like, there's this and there's that. But Investopedia is going to give you sort of a breakdown that has all these words and kind of explains what it all means in a way that's really easy to understand. And coinmarketcap.com is what I use to keep up with crypto and what's happening with that. Okay, so these are some really important strategies and terms that I think you should know before you start investing. So dollar cost averaging, if you guys follow me on anything, you probably hear me say, I'm dollar cost averaging my way into X. And so I threw Krispy Kreme up there as an example. If you know me, you know I love Krispy Kreme. Okay, let's say you wanted to put $400 in a Krispy Kreme and you bought it all right here. So what you did is you bought it at the top, and so it started to drop after that. So that maybe wasn't the best buying point. Dollar cost averaging is investing X amount of money over a fixed period of time. So let's say if you had spread that $400 out into once a week, buying it here and here and here is lowering your chances of just buying it at the top. So you're bringing down your average, which can help you have an overall lower entry point and higher exit point. And I wanted to talk about a market versus a limit order. Now, if you place a market order, you're just gonna buy it as what it's listed as. Like this says 1451. So if I'm on whatever account it is that I'm using and I say, hey, I wanna buy Krispy Kreme, then that's 1451. But a limit order, if I see it fluctuating kind of like in here, maybe I'll set it as a limit order to buy it at, I don't know, $14 even, or $14.20, which doesn't seem like a huge difference, but any little amount of money will make a big difference, especially if you're buying a lot of shares. So I definitely recommend buying with a limit order instead of just buying with what the market price is as you start to get more experience. And I also talk about buying on the dips a lot. And right now we're seeing a lot of that because of the state of the market. So the dips are the points where it's going down, like here or here or here. You guys can probably tell, like just from the chart. One example of that is, I think it was Cristiano Ronaldo. He was doing an interview after a soccer game, and someone tried to hand him it was like a Coke or a Pepsi, and he was like, oh, my family and I don't drink that, I just want water. And he moved it away, and that made the stock price go down a little bit. But that's not enough to make the company itself not be successful, but it was a good buying opportunity because the price went down, which was a dip, so I bought on that dip. And so there's little things like that, which is why I keep up with the news. And so it's a lot, because if you're invested in a lot of different companies, people work jobs, so you don't always have the time to be monitoring it this closely, which is why I really want to stress the importance of ETFs and index funds and things like that, so you don't have to constantly do individual research on individual stocks. But I think this is a good starting point if you are looking to start investing. And I really want to talk about profit taking, because as the price of a stock goes up, you don't actually make any money until you sell it. So you have to lock in that win. So if you see the price of a stock going up, you don't actually get to keep the money until you sell it. So profit taking is really important, and that's definitely a key word that you're gonna hear. And I wanted to talk about dividends. So certain companies reward you just for holding their stock. So maybe quarterly, they'll either give you money or shares. And what I do with those dividends is I take it and I reinvest it. You can take it out in cash, but it's a good way to kind of, if you're beginning to invest with a lot of money, invest in companies that give out dividends, because that's more money that you can reinvest without having to spend any of your actual money. And the term diamond hands everyone uses, that just means you're holding it for a long time. It's not necessarily important, but I feel like a lot of what makes investing, what scares a lot of people is all the terminology, and it just seems really daunting. And I know even as I explain it now, it might seem like a lot of different words and a lot to kind of grasp, but I think that it's good to have a general idea of what these things are before you start putting money into the market. And I wanted to talk about the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they start investing. So panic selling is probably the biggest one. People see the price starting to go down and they just want to get out of it as soon as they can, because they're like, well, what if it doesn't go back up? And what if I lose all of my money? Some people invest thousands and thousands, so it can be scary, but panic selling, it's really important not to do that, because you can end up losing your money on a good investment. So you just kind of have to keep your emotions in control and not panic sell. For that, I recommend just not looking at it every day, because it is going to go up and down, and just kind of set the price for when you want it to sell, because that's something that you can do on those apps. A lot of people buy when it's already at the top. Like when Tesla started running up, I think it got up to like a little over $1,000. People were like, oh, well, Tesla's doing well, so let me buy it. But if you buy it at the top, you've gotten in it too late, because then it's not going to go up anymore and you're going to end up losing money. or buying just because someone told you to without doing research. Not everyone is super knowledgeable about this, and they'll just kind of buy things. So just buying because someone mentioned it is something that you don't want to do without doing your own research and looking at some of those things that I brought up earlier. And not diversifying. You definitely never want to put all of your eggs in one basket when it comes to investing, whether that's in stocks or in crypto, because that's also a good way to lose money. Okay, and so I wanted to talk about some of my stock and crypto picks. I think this should be kind of the end of it. A lot of people say, okay, well, this is how I open it. I put my money in, but where do you suggest I start? What things do you suggest I get? So SPY is an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. A lot of people have probably heard S&P 500, Dow, NASDAQ. Well, this is tracking some of the biggest companies in the world. And I think that's a good ETF to buy. I think Apple is a good stock, Disney, Microsoft, and Alphabet. Alphabet is Google. Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin are my top crypto picks for this year lately. Those are my top 3, and I think that they're going to be really big, especially because of NFTs, and crypto is really getting a lot bigger. I do have other stocks and crypto picks, but I think these are good ones to start with, and this is kind of where I started, and I built so much from there. Oh, I think that might have been the last slide. But I want to open it up for questions if anyone had any. Maybe not, but no? Well, that's it. Oh, a question? Sorry, what? Oh, yeah, so when you look up a company, let me see if I can go back to it. Like on here, this was just from Google. It was a picture of the chart. And it shows the dividend yield. That's a really small one. But that's how you see the dividend yield. It'll be listed, like if you just Google the stock, it'll tell you if it gives out a dividend or not. And you can just Google companies that give out good dividends. I think that's a great starting point. Oh, yeah.
You mentioned share, like is a share the amount that you buy?
Mm-hmm.
Like every time you buy a stock, that's a share, right?
Yeah, so a share is the same as buying, like one whole share of Krispy Kreme would cost $14.51. And so you want to buy more than one share to really make some money. But I mean, there are times that I've just bought fractional shares. That's an option too, where let's say for the really expensive stocks, like Tesla costs a little more. So I think when I first bought Tesla, I only bought like $20 worth. It was my first investment. I just wanted to kind of get my feet wet. But yeah, a share is just when you buy one unit of the price. I hope that makes sense and helps. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, so Coinbase, it is a Coinbase wallet. When you're investing in crypto, yeah, for stocks it'll be called a brokerage account, and with crypto, where you hold all of your currency is the wallet, quote unquote. See, it's just a lot of terms, but things definitely start to click as you do it. Ripple? Oh, XRP? Yeah, I have heard about that one. I didn't buy it, but I do think that I have to look, but the last time I looked into it, it was a good investment. There's a lot of other crypto that I like, so if you wanted some more picks, I can definitely help you out. Yeah.
So, like, what's your opinion on, like, the long-term, like, it's crypto related, but, like, what's your opinion on, like, the long-term, like, use case for it? And do you think that, like, it's just a good way to make money maybe in the next, like, 10 years? Or do you think that
It's here to stay?
Yeah, do you think it's here to stay, basically?
I think initially that was the fear, right? That it wasn't here to stay, and people didn't even think it would make it to this point. And I think when we're seeing more things kind of come from it, like NFTs, then yeah, I definitely think it's here to stay. A lot of people who invest in crypto invest in it because they think it'll eventually be bigger than gold. That's a lot of their reason for investing in it. I don't know if that'll happen. I mean, I hope it does. That's why I'm investing in crypto. But yeah, I think it's here to stay. Even with, like, did you guys see the Staples Center is renamed like the Crypto Center or something? Yeah, like they spent all this money for the naming rights just because I think they're trying to, like, make a point that crypto is big and it's here to stay. even with all the Super Bowl commercials that had crypto. Like in the last few years, we've seen it grow so much. I definitely think it'll be around. Oh, yeah.
You know how crypto is going to be involved in the metaverse?
In the metaverse? Yeah, so I just started like reading more into that. I think it's kind of like goes hand in hand with real life and virtual reality. So you have some a lot of it is with gaming, I think, in the metaverse and buying property. So you can buy property in the metaverse, but you can use crypto to do it. I don't remember which one exactly. It might have been Ethereum that certain plots of land were selling for in the metaverse. And there are certain metaverse tokens like Mana and Sand that I think are going to be really big. We're seeing a lot of like artists like Snoop Dogg has spent so much money in the metaverse. And I think the currency in the metaverse is going to be tokens, is going to be crypto. But like, did you hear that McDonald's just entered the metaverse and you can buy food online, like with crypto and stuff, and it's virtual, but they're going to deliver the food to your door in real life. Yeah, so it's kind of this like real world meets online kind of thing, and video games. Like there's this video game, Axis. It's this token. And so it's like Pokemon. That's how the game is played. And the icon that you create to play the game, you can sell as an NFT, but that is all a cryptocurrency. So there's tokens, but it's also real currency. So yeah, I love metaverse. I'm glad you asked about that. Did you? I was like, yeah.
Aside from active investing,
Passive investors? Yeah, where you don't have to constantly be looking at stuff? Yeah. That's always a good question, and that's probably where I go back to ETFs and index funds, because they are managed by people who aren't us, and things are already picked out, or holdings companies like Berkshire Hathaway. And as far as crypto, I haven't really figured that out yet, because the crypto market is open 24/7, so it's a lot harder to watch. Like, I keep my notifications on, and sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and buy something. Like, not everyone's gonna wanna do that. But you can set things like a trailing stop loss to kind of automatically sell at a certain point to help you either make money or stop yourself from losing too much. I have a video on trailing stop loss, but I think that's something that's super useful whether you're investing in stocks or in crypto.
So one thing that I keep on hearing about are the bots. Like, you'll automatically buy and sell for you as well. Like,
Oh, like the robo-advisors?
yeah.
What are my thoughts on that? I don't know. I've seen a couple, like Ella Invest is one that I keep getting ads for. I haven't really looked into it. I'm a little scared, but I mean, I would do research on the company and just see what people are saying about it. Was it successful, and what are they picking? I do it myself, but you can get like a portfolio manager if you wanted somebody to do this for you, where you didn't have to be involved with the process like at all. I just personally like it because I enjoy it, and I mean, I make videos about it, so I have to kind of do it myself. But yeah, I think that finding a way to do it passively, robo-advisors would be a way to do that. But I'm just a little scared, so I haven't yet. Yeah.
Can you use the same techniques of analysis that people use for stocks and crypto? So like the 10-day exponential moving average,
Mm-hmm.
MACD, different.
I'm honestly not sure. That sounds more like technical analysis to me, which I do more fundamental analysis. I think there's a lot of crossover in what I look at to pick a good stock investment or a good crypto investment, but I'm not sure, because that's more like less how I do it, but that's something worth looking into. I think a lot of the same things that I look at, or a lot of the things that I look at with crypto, I look at the same things with stock. That's kind of what helped me figure cryptocurrency out. Were there any more questions? Oh,
Are
yeah.
there specific places that you would love to invest in? Like,
Like to pick a company?
yes.
So I always say start with companies that you know. Like when I started, I kept hearing about electric vehicles, so I bought Tesla. But yeah, you can Google. I feel like the Motley Fool is one that people use, or Investopedia will even give you like, or Yahoo Finance will kind of say like, oh, these are like good investments to get now or for this week. And I post about this, so my YouTube channel, I guess. I should plug myself.
Link in bio.
Yeah, link in bio if anyone wants any further information. Millennial Money Moves. But yeah. Yes.
So,
No, I appreciate it.
what are red flags?
Ooh, that's a good question. Red flags and green flags. Okay. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, I thought I had a slide. Maybe I passed it. Okay. So with crypto, actually it was longer for stocks. These are all good things to look at for if a stock is good. Like I said, PEG ratio under 1, big market caps, good cash flow, hearing good things about the company. If a company has too many lawsuits going on, I'm probably not going to invest in it if I don't think they can bounce back from it. I look at what's happening. Like, I actually just pulled out of all my stocks in China, and it was right around the time of the Evergrande crisis, which is their big, it was a huge company in China. It had like real estate, and they overexpanded and lost a ton of money. It was crazy, but things like that affect other companies that you're invested in. So I really try to stay up to date with what's happening. So lawsuits, bankruptcy, bad leadership. With crypto, there's a lot of scams out there, so I feel like try to be careful. A lot of celebrities will promote crypto, but they probably get paid to talk about it, and it's not necessarily a good investment. And the stock will like pump and dump. So you'll see like a crypto go up to like a super crazy amount of money, and then within seconds drop to nothing. So I feel like, yeah, crypto's volatile, but not that volatile. Like, that's just probably not a good investment. Like those Safe Moon and like all those other coins, I steer clear of those. Not that you can't make money, but it's just too risky for me.
So you kind of talked about like panic selling. So where do you draw the line between like seeing something on the news,
Like it's bad and this is just
versus,
panicking?
like, oh, this will pass over.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I feel like it just depends on how bad it is, and then I look at what analysts are saying. Like I make my own little, okay, I think they'll come back from that. Like Ronaldo with the Pepsi thing. Like I was like, all right, yeah, it'll go down for a little bit, but Coca-Cola is such a big company that they're gonna surpass that. I basically look at the strength of the company. Because yeah, sometimes there's news that'll bring things down, but that's when I go back to looking at how they're doing financially. And did they actually lose money? Are they just having a bad quarter? Like with electric vehicles, it was down for a while because of the A1 chip shortage. But I felt like that was something that they could overcome. So I didn't pull out of it. If anything, I used that as an opportunity to buy more. So I feel like just really be careful what your sources are. Look at what Wall Street is saying. I talk about stuff like that, not that I'm like an expert, but those are things that I try to pay a lot of attention to. Like, is this just a dip? Or, is it bad where it's not gonna go back up? And more often than not, it's just a dip, because I try to invest in strong companies, because you have to assume that there's gonna be bad news and things are gonna make it go up and down. And trailing stop losses are really good, because if it goes down past a certain point and you just don't wanna risk it getting lower and lower, you can take all your money out and reinvest it in something else. Are there any? Oh, yeah.
What is the biggest investment that you think that had the best?
Like my biggest increase?
Yeah.
I feel like crypto has had like the crazy big like percentage increases. I think Tezos, it was like, I had like a 700, it was like something crazy. Like, I don't remember if it was 70% or 700%. It was insane. That and Dogecoin, and my biggest stock, I think, increase was Tesla. I got in that at a really good entry point and out at a really good exit point, and then rebought back in. But Tesla was my best performing stock, and Dogecoin and Tezos were my best performing. Oh, and Ethereum. Ethereum was a really big one too. Yeah.
From a budgeting standpoint, what percentage of your
Would you invest? This is a question that's hard for me to answer. I feel like what I did was, it kind of depends on what budgeting method you use. So I feel like that's specific to what works best for the person, because we all have different, how much money we have to like mess around with. So not always necessarily a percentage, because it depends how much you're making. I feel like for our age group, I say it's good to have an emergency fund saved up, 3 months of income or $1,000, and then do your 50, 30, 20. 50 needs, 30% wants, and 20% savings. Because then there's the envelope method. Like, there's just so many different types of budgeting that I think it's best person to person. So I don't really have a specific answer for that, I guess. But I kind of treat it with my savings. So I have my savings already set, and I'll take a percentage out of my paycheck and invest it into the market. Lately, I've been investing more into crypto than I have stocks. So for me, it kind of changes with how much money I'm making, how much I'm putting in my Roth IRA. Like, sorry, it's not a straightforward answer, but that's kind of how I do it. And then I feel like you just have to adjust with the money that you do have. Always invest with money that you'll be okay with losing, I think is a good rule of thumb. Oh, yeah.
Can you explain the difference between Fidelity and Vanguard?
Yeah, so Fidelity and Vanguard, it really comes down to certain things like, do you have someone you can call and talk to if there's a problem, and certain fees with buying, like if you invested into SPY on Vanguard versus Fidelity. I like Fidelity. I feel like their fees on things, when you get down into it, are a little lower, but they're both really established companies, so you can't go wrong either way. And you can have multiple, like you don't just have to pick one. I have, I think 3. I have Fidelity, Moomoo, and Webull. And I did have Robinhood, but I got out of that. I'm sure you guys all heard about, GameStop and AMC, and then that's when I took my money and left. So, yeah, you don't have to pick just one. All right, I think that's it for questions. So thank you guys for listening to that whole thing. Oh yeah. Yeah, I really forgot to plug myself. I meant to put my links in like the thing and I forgot. Okay, this is my YouTube channel where I talk about investing. So it's a lot more detailed than what I just did, and I break down kind of like stock by stock, crypto by crypto, what I'm buying, when I'm buying, stuff like that. But that's me. And my Instagram is Money Moves with Nadia. Once you get my YouTube, you'll find everything else on there too. But yeah, that's me. That's what I do. That's hopefully what I'm going to be doing full time for a while. I want to keep doing stuff like this. So honestly, thank you, Dora, and thank you, Winwood, for setting this whole thing up, because this is something that I've always wanted to do. So thanks for giving me the first platform to do so. And thank all of you for coming. Yes. Thank you.
I just want to say I love the presentation, and I think the most thing that I got out of this, it's never too late to invest money, and it's wonderful that this youth is starting early and young, and it's the future. Thank you.
So this is Midnight City Marketing speaking. I'm really happy to have collaborated with Nadia and been able to show women and men today to indulge in a world of crypto and be able to empower each other to learn more. And I'm just really happy we're able to pull that off, and it was amazing. Thank you.
So really, I just walked away from learning really just the basics. I came in really knowing nothing, even though I've had a lot of conversations with Nadia myself, but just kind of getting my foot in the door, learning just where to start, like the basic websites, and just really the first steps. So yeah, I'm really excited to start.
Oh, so tonight's event, that was amazing. I know Nadia through college, and I know she's always wanted to, engage within the community. So this was one of the first events where she was, she had the potential to do that, and it turned out great. A lot of people were able to ask questions, and a lot of people were to give feedback. But most importantly, it was her educating everyone about how to invest and how do you utilize your finances right.
So this presentation was great. I don't really know too much about cryptocurrency investing at all, and having definitely one of my best friends explain all this to me definitely makes it so much easier. There's gonna be a lot more tips and tricks that I'll know later on in the future to kind of grow my own money. And so yeah, that was the best thing about this event, and it looks cool in here too. So thank you.
I'm so happy I got to come here and listen to Nadia speak. I learned some really, really valuable information, like what stocks to look for, green flags, red flags, just how to really research the stocks that you want to
want to invest in. So I think that's really important that she's coming out here to the community to do this, and I'm really, really grateful for her and really happy for her.
I feel very fortunate to be here today. I learned a lot about cryptocurrency, which was something that I kind of heard about on social media, but wasn't really sure as to like the difference of investments in cryptocurrency. So that was really cool. So thank you, Nadia, for the opportunity. I really enjoyed myself tonight, and I can't wait to see more of you throughout your journey.
Well, overall, obviously, it was definitely a very introductionary kind of presentation. So I think that was really helpful for me, being that I don't really have a full scope knowledge of it. So getting a good grasp of like all the bigger concepts in a small like point is very, very helpful. So I think that all together was a big takeaway for me, kind of getting the big points and being introduced to them in a simple concept. It's really, really nice. So really appreciative of that for her presentation. So shout out to Nadia for that for sure. So thank you.
Overall, I learned that NFTs, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, stocks are not as intimidating as I thought, and paying attention to real world events can actually really help in investing in stocks and big companies. So thank you so much to Nadia, and I'm ready to make money moves.
Hello, so I just finished my first live presentation of talking about investing in stocks and crypto, and I'm just beyond grateful to have the opportunity to do something like this. And I'm really glad the turnout went the way that it did, and people liked it, they were engaged, they were asking questions. So I'm just feeling really happy about the whole thing, and really hoping to do more. I think there's big things coming that I can't even foresee, but I'm just excited to see where life will take me, and investing and posting has just really changed my life for the better. So I'm excited, and thank you guys for all being a part of it.